If you're a Nintendo fan, you almost certainly remember the launch of Super Mario 3D All-Stars for the Switch. I mean, what a celebration, right? It brought three of Mario's most legendary 3D adventures to a whole new generation. But the real question wasn't if they could do it, it was how. How on earth could they make games designed for old, fuzzy TVs look amazing on a crisp Switch screen without totally rebuilding them from the ground up? And this slide really gets to the heart of the problem. On the left, you've got that original 480p resolution, what I like to call the jagged edges of nostalgia. It looked totally fine on our old tube TVs back in the day. But when you blow that up on a modern 1080p screen, it's a pixelated mess. So the challenge wasn't just getting the games to work, it was making them look as sharp as we all remember them looking, without losing that original magic.
So that's the big question, isn't it? How did Nintendo actually pull this off? A full-blown remake was never going to happen. That would have taken years and a massive budget. They had to have some kind of secret weapon up their sleeve. So, what was it?
Well, the answer turned out to be this really clever two-part strategy. They basically combined a kind of digital translator with what you could call an AI artist. Let's dive in and break down exactly how emulators and artificial intelligence came together to save the day. Okay, so first up, the emulator. The absolute best way to think about an emulator is like a real-time language translator. The original code for the Nintendo 64 speaks a completely different language from the modern hardware inside the Switch. The emulator sits in the middle and translates every single instruction, on the fly, so the new machine can understand the old game. This is the absolutely crucial first step, just getting the game to run at all. But just getting the game to run is only half the battle. The second step is where the real magic happens, deep learning. Nintendo basically trained an AI artist and then set it loose on the game's original graphics. So instead of just stretching out the old, blurry images, the AI intelligently analyzed them and then essentially redrew them at a much higher, cleaner resolution. This is how they smoothed out all those jagged edges and made everything look so crisp.
So who were the masterminds who actually fused this emulation and AI tech together? Well, this wasn't just some random team at Nintendo. No, this was a highly specialized group, the kind of people they call in to solve the company's most complicated technical puzzles.
This incredible high-tech solution came from a group called Nintendo European Research and Development. They're actually based in France, and they're kind of one of Nintendo's secret weapons, specializing in really complex software challenges like video compression and, as we're seeing here, truly cutting-edge emulation.
And if you're looking at that long name, Nintendo European Research and Development, well, you can just use their acronym. And yep, it's NERD. Honestly, could there be a more perfect name for the team that digs through decades-old code to bring our favorite classics back to life? I don't think so. But even for a team literally called NERD, this project was no walk in the park. While emulating the Nintendo 64 and the Wii was, let's say, manageable, one console in this collection stood out as a massive technical mountain to climb: the Nintendo GameCube, the original home of Super Mario Sunshine.
The team themselves have said that the single biggest challenge was just perfectly simulating the GameCube's super unique custom-built hardware. See, that console wasn't made with a bunch of off-the-shelf parts. It was a completely unique beast. Getting its strange and complex architecture to run perfectly on the Switch, that was a monumental task. And when you look at the details, you can see why. They had to perfectly simulate the Gecko CPU, which was a custom chip from IBM, and the Flipper graphics chip, which was designed by a company called ArtX specifically for Nintendo. Look, when you're dealing with standard PC parts, there's a predictable rulebook. But with custom hardware like this, the NERD team pretty much had to reverse engineer a one-of-a-kind engine. Getting that unique pairing to play nice was the key to making Super Mario Sunshine even possible. So, with all these immense technical challenges finally solved, Nintendo released this masterpiece of game preservation. But the story doesn't quite end there. See, they released it in a very unusual way, and for a lot of fans, it was actually pretty controversial. So why all the fuss? Well, it all came down to this number right here, 35.
This whole incredible project was created to celebrate the 35th anniversary of Super Mario himself. So, Nintendo decided to frame this not as a normal game release, but as a special, limited-time event for a huge birthday.
And when they said limited time, they literally meant it. The game came out in September of 2020 and was then completely pulled from both the digital eShop and physical stores on March 31st, 2021. That's it. Just about 6 months. This strategy, fear of missing out, instantly turned the collection into a collector's item and a really weird moment in gaming history. But at the end of the day, what the Nerd team achieved was just remarkable. They didn't change the core gameplay that we all fell in love with. Instead, they used this cutting-edge tech to reserve the original feel, the original physics, all the original fun, while just enhancing the visuals so it looked right for a modern audience. It was a high-tech restoration, not a remake. And that really leaves us with a fascinating thought, doesn't it? This combination of super accurate emulation and AI-powered upscaling is an incredibly powerful tool for preserving classic games. It really makes you wonder, what other gems from the past are just waiting for their own high-tech revival? What game would you want to see get the Nerd treatment next?